Hi, I'm Steve from soundsheavenly.com. In this video I'm going to explain how to connect Bang Olufsen's amazing new Beolab 8 loudspeakers to absolutely anything, any audio, video or IT product, and how to get the best from them. There will be two parts to this video. The first part is for those people who have a short attention span or who are in an amazing hurry, and we'll cover it really quickly. Secondly, if you've got more time, stay with me for a deep dive into connectivity and I will explain everything you need to know. As promised, part one of this video, for those of you who are in a hurry and have to be somewhere fast, this is nice and easy. If you've got any questions about connecting Beolab 8 to anything, absolutely anything at all, via wires, then please go to soundsheavenly.com, click on the contact form, tell me what you want to connect them to, and I'll help. I did say via wires. If you've got questions about connecting them wirelessly, I'm not the person for that. I make wires. So questions for wireless connectivity, please ask your B&O dealer or get in touch with B&O via their website, which I will link in the video description. Questions about plugging them into products with wires, I can help you. End of part one. So if you're still with me and you've got time, let's go into a deep dive on this. Let's explain the 12 different setups and cover the different ways you can use these speakers, including some that Bang & Olufsen themselves probably didn't realise was possible. So you should get a mains power cable with your speakers when you buy them. They are mains powered. They won't work without a connection to power. So if the cable you get is not long enough or is too long, then I keep a wide range of lengths with UK and European power plugs fitted. So we can go anywhere from a couple of meters up to 10 meters. So you can position the speakers exactly as you need them within the room. On these speakers there are two connection sockets which are of interest to us here. We're going to cover the RJ45 Powerlink input first and then the USB-C stereo line input. There are differences between these in the way that they function, and that is critical in understanding which is the best for your setup. Now first of all, the RJ45 Powerlink socket. This has been used on all Bang & Olufsen TVs, audio systems and speakers since around 2013. It's a replacement for the previous 8-pin DIN Powerlink connector, which goes back to around about 1989. Please correct me if I'm wrong, I'm doing this from memory. And if you've got a new B&O TV, so Eclipse, Horizon, Harmony, or the Beosound Theatre soundbar, this is the cable you need. RJ45 plug at both ends. You'll use one for each speaker. So the speaker only has one Powerlink input, so you wouldn't daisy chain the cable between the two speakers as you would do with some other speakers. Each one will connect directly back to the TV. When you're using the Powerlink input, the TV or audio system controls the volume. So the volume dial on the touch panel and in the app for the speakers is disabled. We'll come to this a bit more at the end of the video, but that's worth noting. If you have a classic Bang & Olufsen television or audio system going back to the late 80s and it has the 8-pin DIN version of Powerlink, then no problem. We've got an 8-pin DIN to RJ45 Powerlink cable, which allows the speakers to connect to anything like Beosound 9000, Beovision 7, Beosystem 3, Beomaster 5. The options go on and on, I won't list them all. But suffice to say that these speakers integrate perfectly with a wide range of older B&O systems. And if you have the cables already in place with the old 8-pin DIN Powerlink connectors, don't worry. You just need one of these 8-pin to RJ45 adapters at each speaker, and you can plug Beolab 8s in as replacements for whatever went there before, whether that be Beolab Penta, 6000, 4000, Beolab 4s, 5s, 3s, you name it. If your previous speakers had 2 Powerlink sockets on each speaker and you had a cable daisy chaining from the first speaker to the second, don't worry. Even though these speakers only have 1 Powerlink socket, what you can do here is an RJ45 Powerlink Splitter. It has 2 DIN sockets, 1 RJ45 plug. So the cable from the TV or music system goes in here, the link cable to the second speaker goes in here, and this plug goes into the Beolab 8. So you can keep your existing cables in place, upgrade to Beolab 8, and you don't have to worry about running new wires or getting things messed up. Now, the Powerlink input is really useful. It's good to know that as well as having a fixed volume on the speaker and relying on the TV or audio system for volume control, the big advantage of this socket is that it has a very, very low latency or delay within the speaker. So the actual latency is just under 30 milliseconds or 0.03 seconds. That means that when you're watching TV and listening to the speakers, the sound arrives out of the speaker almost instantaneously as the picture appears on screen. So whenever you connect these speakers to any sort of TV, projector, AV system or computer for movies, then the Powerlink socket is the one to use. Next to that is a USB-C stereo line input, and I've developed this higher quality USB-C to 3.5mm adapter for this input, which is an upgrade over the ones that are normally shipped with the speakers. And what this does is it allows you to connect any audio input to the speaker via this, and it can be done concurrently. You can have a TV connected on the Powerlink input and an audio product on the USB-C line input, and you can easily switch between them. So let me give you some examples. You could have a TV connected on Powerlink, and you could also connect via a Powerlink to 3.5mm cable and this adapter a classic audio system. So you could have a Beosound 9000, for example, Beomaster 5, Beosound 3200, Beosystem 7000, you name it, the list goes on. In this case, you would turn up the volume on the audio system and use the speaker touch panel for volume control on the line input. The line input has a larger latency, or delay, than Powerlink. It's around about 330 milliseconds, so it's about 11 times greater than the delay on Powerlink. So for that reason, we don't use the USB-C input for video products where the picture on the screen needs to match the sound, because you'll have a lag and the sound will delay and will be coming out after the picture has already gone off screen. So, whilst you could connect a PC into these speakers via a USB-A to USB-C cable, I only recommend this for playing music. I don't suggest that you do this for watching movies on the PC or for live video calls, because you will have a noticeable delay on the sound. At the end of the video, I'll explain how you can get around this. But let's just look at first at some other examples of audio products that we can connect in. Now, probably the most popular one, I think, from questions so far has been a Bang & Olufsen record player. And for that I have this cable, which again will be linked in the video description, as will everything we mention. This is exactly the same cable that I ship to Bang & Olufsen themselves, and which they send out with each of their Beogram 4000C record players, and also the Beosystem 7223 music system, which I understand currently retails at £55,000. So this is a very high quality cable. And if you've got a Bang & Olufsen Beogram turntable that has a preamplifier built in, so Beogram 3500, 4500, 6500, 7000, or you've got a modified version of the Beogram 1500 or 6000 quad that had the preamp modules fitted, then you can plug straight into here, and via the USB-C adapter you can play into these speakers. Whereas with Powerlink you would go one cable into each speaker in the pair, for the USB-C line input you only connect to the primary speaker, and that's the one that you use in the app to set up the stereo pair. The reason for this longer latency on the line input is that the two speakers then communicate over your Ethernet internet network, and they share the stereo audio between the two speakers that way instead of having a physical connection to each speaker. Now, if you've got an older Beogram that doesn't have a preamp, and that's the majority of them, then all is not lost. I stock a preamplifier bundle which includes all the cables you need. You would select the 3.5mm TRS output option. It would include the input cable for your Beogram, and then that will connect via the USB-C line input adapter, and you can play an older Beogram into the Beolab 8s. And this preamp bundle is also great if you've got any non-B&O turntable without a preamp. So the popular one that I get asked about will be the Stanton decks, or the Technics SL 1210s, or the Lynn Sondeck LP12. But anything is possible. Riga, Project, Nottingham Analog, you name it. Any turntable can be played to these speakers. Again, this 3.5mm to twin RCA cable that I've shown here is brilliant if you've got any generic non-B&O audio product. CD players, SACD super audio players, turntables with preamps, any sort of music storage server or vault, then you can play the audio straight from there into the USB-C adapter and into the speakers. And this allows pretty much complete flexibility for any audio product that you could name going back to around about 1960. You can easily play into the Beolab 8. Now, we've left the slightly complicated option to last, and I'll explain now what this is. I've mentioned briefly that if you connect a PC via the USB socket, then you'll get an audio delay. And the way to get around this, if you're using any non-Bang & Olufsen video system, television, computer monitor, or a projector with these speakers, and you need the TV sound to be in sync with the speakers, you have to connect via the Powerlink RJ45 socket. Now, normally this socket won't allow the speakers to wake up and be ready for use unless they see voltage triggers that are normally sent by a B&O TV. So the way we get around that is with a trigger kit. And this is something I've developed to allow any Bang & Olufsen speaker to work with any non-B&O video system. And I can produce a version of this on request with an RJ45 input connector to fit the Beolab 8s. What we'll do then is provide an extra splitter option to go out to the second speaker, because each speaker needs its own direct cabled input, and this gives this very low latency in sync audio for the speakers from any volume controlled audio source. Now, there are two popular ways of doing this. The first one is if the device that you're using to play the audio and video has a 3.5mm headphone socket. So this will be a TRS 3.5mm input option. The TV, computer or projector headphone socket will be used. This will then connect and split out to both speakers. The trigger kit activates the speaker, powers them on, and you get TV or projector sound to the speakers without delay. If you have a surround sound system and you're using multiple pairs of speakers, there's a version of the trigger kit for that, and that has twin RCA phono inputs for the audio. So this is where I'd suggest you go for an AV receiver that has pre-out sockets for all audio channels, and those pre-outs are critical because they're volume controlled. You can't use the tape outputs or record outputs of an amplifier or receiver with the Powerlink input of the speakers, because the speakers are relying on the receiver to have the volume control, and they're fixed at full volume. So you really don't want to connect these up and blast literally full volume to them. It's not good for your ears. So find an AV receiver with pre-out sockets and the RCA version of this trigger kit, allows it to connect to the speakers, and the trigger will activate them for use. If your receiver is in place and doesn't have pre-outs, let me know and we have a solution for that, which is an attenuated converter. That reduces speaker level outputs down to become pre-outs so the speakers can receive them. So I think we've covered virtually every option, including some that I think Bang & Olufsen themselves may not have realised is possible. But as I said at the start, if you've got any questions about using Beolab 8 with absolutely any Bang & Olufsen or other brand of product, please drop me a line. Go to soundsheavenly.com, click on the contact form, tell me what you want to connect. Thank you very much for watching. On screen here will appear my long-term review of Beolab 8, and just here are some other connectivity videos to help you get the best from your B&O products.